Hey, what's up, guys? This is Tim with nades.gg, and I'm going to do a callout map now that Overpass is back into the active map pool. And everything's going to be color-coded here, marked on the walls. I'm going to explain it kind of as I go along here. Some calls are going to be a lot more important than others. Here's one that really isn't going to be that important, and that's why it's marked in silver, is 1 up. There's a spray paint on the wall that says 1 up. So not often will people be saving here, right? But it's still a call. And it's really easy to learn and know it once you kind of know what to look for, right? So I'm going to explain kind of how this map has evolved over time and how the callouts have evolved over time, because there's going to be a lot of calls that people will say on this map that are old and out of date, and you won't know why it's called that unless someone explained the history of the callouts around the map. So I'm going to do that for you. Forklift here, spawn stairs here, and this leads up to a main. Music, because when you put your ear here, music plays. This used to be called cock. There used to be a rooster on the wall here. Now that's gone. There's a bunch of foxes, so I think calling it foxes is fine too, but some people still call this cock. Porta potties, or porta johns, right here. You have monster stairs going up there. A back spool, kind of hiding back here. Or calling this spool is fine. People will generally understand what you're talking about. Right monster, when people are kind of tucked here. And this whole general area is going to be called monster in general, because of all these graffitis there. ROPS, a pro player, that's why it's marked in pink. It, popularized tucking up here. And then you have water tunnel, because that leads over to water. Makes sense, right? There's still some water reflecting here. Some people say that this is water. Don't call that water. There is some water here, but it's not as much as before. Call this pit or trash or backsite, anything other than water, because water is over here. Under squeak, tucking here is kind of popular. I think that calling this Stewie makes a lot of sense, because throwing a flashbang off this wall here, Stewie 2K popularized that. So, you know, there's that. By the way, I've got some silent drops or some notes kind of listed in black here. So, you know, you just want to fall there and then fall here. Smallwood, because people throw utility here, and it's just good to say, hey, Smallwood, so you know to aim down when you swing here. Or Bigwood up here, because people throw utility up there too. And then water cubby. When you walk up this hill into, here's sandbags or construction when they're tucked here, but this is also known as short B. You have a shadow disadvantage, by the way, around right here if you're swinging this guy. So I just want to make you aware of that. Your shadow is seen on the ground. Bridge, deep pit or under bridge when you're playing under here. When you're tucking ledge or looking down here and hiding, this is just called ledge. Like I said, pit or trash or backside is generally good here. I didn't know what to call this spot. But it does say funky, and it does say hue, so it makes sense to maybe call this funkier hue. Don't call this hell. Reason why you want to call it under heaven is because historically, people have called this hell. And I know you're going to say, well, you know, heaven's under here. Doesn't make sense to call what's underneath, right below hell. I mean, yeah, you could, but there's some other maps where they're split up too, like on trains. Want to make you aware of that. Some people do call this hell because of the hellish red light that used to be back here. Well, now that's gone. If, you know, now it's out of date, which is why I have it marked in orange. Graffiti, because there's graffitis back here. If you call this left graffiti, right graffiti, completely fine and acceptable call as well. The hell boost, you can still boost a teammate over here, so just be aware of that. And then here's sandbags boost, which is a standing boost as well. Headshot, right here, if you're playing kind of this zone, holding it here. This pillar, or dildo or pole, people call it a variety of things depending on where you are in the world. This is toxic or barrels, and if you're looking down, you can hide yourself, as people call it, hiding barrels. If you're in this zone here and kind of bouncing back and forth and kind of holding these angles, called get right, named after the pro player, or wood or pizza, completely fine and acceptable there. When you run out monster, just call it out monster, and you have a shadow disadvantage when you are running out, by the way. When CTs are tucked here, right side monster. You really can't get up here anymore, from what I know. At least I can't really do it. But historically, it's called Zipix or Pixel. And then you can get up here still. This is called right jail, and this is called jail. This is the more important call to know, because it's still very popular to get up there. And then there's a bunch of plant spots marked on the ground. Here's the graffiti hell plant. Here is deep sight, and here's default or safe. And it starts right here. You can't tuck all the way here. I've seen people try, and they're like, I can't do it, and then they have to move over a little bit. So just be aware. Let's see. If I go up these stairs, I mentioned there's hell. Here's pallets. Not a popular call, but you can get a little weird off angle going here. Underpass, and that leads to back dumpster. I've heard these called spaghetti halls as well. If you go up these stairs here, Heaven stairs. This is back heaven. I need to make a little call out here for like close heaven. But yeah, people can kind of snipe from back here. So, or maybe not. So, but either way, people call this kind of back, this area back heaven. Boiler is new. Right above boiler, by the way, just from a sound cue perspective, is the bank dumpster. All right. And then here's like storage room is how it shows up on the radar. But really this is, if you call this boiler room, that's fine. And immediately above that is going to be bank. So it just gives you some bearings here from sound cue perspective. Here's vault room, bank stairs or back bank. And then here you are at bank. As I mentioned before, bank dumpster, back SWAT or SWAT is fine. And then you have ninja over here in this corner so you can tuck. When people run out long, just have it marked as out long. This little cube here is kind of interesting. You can't wall bang with an op from here over. You can wall bang from here to here. You can't wall bang from here over, but you can wall bang from here to the left. So just kind of know, generally speaking, if you're like swinging out long here, the wall bang on the left side, you can't wall bang any further over to the right. And then you have a shadow disadvantage starting around right here if you're swinging a guy truck or side or whatever. So just be aware. Olaf popularized this playing back here, but this is also called reverse dice, and here's where you want to plant. Here's CP spawn, of course. Here's where your shadow disadvantage is, swinging truck. But here is back truck. People call truck Optimus, by the way. I like to call this corner flatbed when people talk here. And if you ever want to do support flashes for your teammates at B, this lands right above jail if you give it a running throw. And it won't flash your teammates. It lands behind them. So that's super important to know this support flash from A. Here's front truck, and here's the front truck plant. Need to fix that little X there. Left flower, right flower. Those are old calls because there's no flowers there anymore. So left headshot, right headshot is completely fine. Didn't know what to call this, so I call this maybe bath cubby, I guess. If you have a suggestion, please let me know. Toilets or bathrooms, kind of running through here. This is a small AC unit. You can kind of tuck here, so just be aware. Small AC. Rain popularized playing right here. And also there's like a little drip here, so rain, water. All of this is called banana, sands, or highway. Sands is kind of an older call. Now it's just, cement. So I don't know, highways, normal call here. Top of highway is like generally regarded like right here if you want to be more specific. Guardian, pro player here, and then back divider as well. Either one is fine, but divider and wings are when players play here, looking up this way. Mid bath, so you have like bathrooms, mid bath. This is generally regarded as front bath in this area here, and then you have long bath. All right, that's generally going to be the call from like here all the way down to like basically here and into the left, right? But there's like a new ticket booth that's here. So maybe call it ticket, maybe call it vending if you want to, mark that they're in this room here. You have tree from people play from behind here. Picnic is gone, but people are still going to call this picnic. You have rock. And of course, the sloppy call for all of this is, hey, they're long A. All right, my question is like what part of long, right? There is a shadow disadvantage when people swing here. And if let's just say if you're hiding like at beer garden or gate, which by the way, you can tuck and hide for maybe, I don't know, I wouldn't say like a post plant, but you can tuck and hide and then kind of do a quick long pop. By the way, this is close long when you're up against this wall because you can sneak up on someone that's sloppily playing it. This used to be called flower pot. Now it's just a long AC unit. It's a big AC unit at least. But people will still call this flower. So just heads up, and you can't get on top of it and self boost. Let's see. People won't call this bikes. They will probably call this long corner. I need to add a note for it. But there's a bunch of bikes over there, so maybe just call it bikes. I don't know. Let's see. Hopscotch, because there is some hopscotch markings on the ground. A lot of people won't know this call unless you're on looking for it or on a team that are using nades.gg to learn all this stuff, right? So most people are just going to call this out playground. Okay. Dragon, because there's a dragon all along the wall here, marks this corner here. But again, most people will just call this entire area playground, right? If you want to be specific though, maybe someone's triangle. And by the way, if you run and jump on the left side of this, you can see who's pushed up and you can swing out and kill them. You can do a standing boost here as well. Slide, you can play it from under here, by the way, or you can play it from back a slide. All right. I don't know what to call this corner here. Maybe just kind of out a man or out mouth, because I've heard a team, Sam Ree, by the way, on YouTube, his team calls this mouth. But playground is generally, like I said, all this area here. It's kind of a sloppy call, like I said. Fountain. All right, you got hedges. When people say I'm gonna flash over hedge, this is what they're talking about. Stairs or I should call this like lower stairs, maybe upper stairs, but party stairs, lower stairs is fine too. I don't know what they call this little hidey spot here either. I'd love a suggestion here. So if you have one, please let me know. Party, under party. And this is kind of important here for when these are smoked off. And let's just say that someone kills you, you're pushing as a terrorist and someone kills you from under here. It'd be helpful if your teammate had a specific column for that. So under party, I think, is really good. You have a shadow disadvantage walking into front bath. I think I mentioned that. But here's top con. And there's a reason why I have top con listed here and here. I'll get to that in a second. But lock box is right here. It's good for when you tuck in this corner. It's generally actually really good for a kill. But there's a little lock on this box. So it's, just, that makes sense now. Middle con, shelves, which you can run and jump and get up here, even though I missed it. Supplies, because there's a bunch of supplies here on these shelves, is when people tuck here. Or stair cubby, that's fine too. Closet or fan, because there's a fan running up here. And then we have bottom con. We have squeaky door. We have connector, and it's going to lead over here to toolbox because there's a toolbox right here. Bottom ladder, and believe it or not, you can get to mid ladder and hide here. There's a little platform. You got to crouch and kind of be just above, kind of between the vent and this little ledge here, and just jump on over. And then we have top ladder, and then all of this is really a main. Like I said, when you run out here, it's, if you want to shorten it up, a mouth is what you can call it. And then here we are again at T stairs or spawn stairs. And then underneath, of course, that's basically all the calls that are really specific for the map. And like I said before, I was going to mention, like, why is it marked top con here? And then we have top highway and then small AC unit and truck on this building here. Why is that marked on this side of the map? Well, it's because it's really important to know where each part is. Like if I flash top con, I know this building's top con, I can now throw a support flash as a B player, and it's going to pop and hit above party. And it'd be an awesome support flash for people that are, let's say you have a teammate in top con, you can throw that out, right? And then if it's just important to know that, to have your bearings, right? This is like top highway. And then this is the small AC unit. And here's your truck building. So maybe they're hitting a site. You can run and throw a flash over that truck building and just slow them down a little bit. It'll buy you some time to rotate up to, help your teammates, slow them down a little bit. So either way, I think that's just important to kind of know. And it works kind of two ways, by the way. I have this marked over here as above pillar, just so you know, like maybe you're rotating from party, running down to B, chuck a flash as you're rotating to, to slow them down as they're running out monster. Even though that didn't exactly land where I thought it was going to be. But either way, practice that out. But knowing, the cross map flashes is just really important. Like I said before, if you want to do the jail flash, that's really important when you're rotating down from A. But that's pretty much it. Nades.gg is a project where we're going to have a bunch of tools that people can use to easily hop on a server, and people can kind of practice together, or maybe make a couple of friends that are looking for games that are, they're a little bit smarter than the average person, right? Maybe meet someone kind of in our practice servers or whatever. It's not public yet. We are in, we're not even really in beta yet, but I'm going to release a public server so you can come in here and learn all the callouts for all the maps. And yeah, if you like this video and like the direction that we're heading in for this project, join our Discord. Nades.gg has a link to that, and it's in the description below. Like this video because it helps the algorithm, and please subscribe as well. That's it, guys. I'll be doing more of these, so make sure to catch me on the next one.